In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, Tom Blyth and Daniel Webber discuss Billy the Kid Season 3, and Summer H. Howell and Brandon Christensen discuss Night of the Reaper. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and this is the show where I, somehow trick celebrities into spending time with me, and you get to eavesdrop. Win-win, right? I'm Kyle, your pop culture Sherpa, and today's episode is stacked like me at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Let's jump right into it. First up, we're diving into the world of horror, my happy place, as you know. And, oh, by the way, I have a brand new book, my first book out, called 31 Days of Horror, Pop Culture Weekly's Killer Guide to Surviving the 31-Day Horror Movie Challenge. You can get it on Amazon right now in paperback or hardcover. And I am so hyped. I want to know what you think. I did this with you in mind. 31 movies that I chose, one for each night. You don't have to do it in October. You can start whenever you want. But I really toiled over which movies to pick because there's so many good movies. And I wanted to do a mix of, subgenres of horror, so slashers and supernatural and found footage, and a mix of when it was made. So there's stuff from the 70s and today and, a few years ago and blah, blah, blah. And I really tried to vary it up, have some classics in there and some that maybe you've never heard of before. So you can get it right now on Amazon or go to popcultureweekly.com/31 Days of Horror, and you can read all about it and pick it up there. But I really want to know what you think about it. By the way, it hit number 7 on the horror charts on Amazon. Am I a best-selling author now? I think I may be. It's pretty crazy, at least on the horror charts. But in any event, all right. So as we continue our dive into the world of horror, I'm talking with Night of the Reaper star Summer H. Howell, who stars in the film as well as she'll be playing Carrie in the upcoming Carrie film, and the film's wickedly talented writer-director Brandon Christensen. And Night of the Reaper is a Shudder original, and it follows a college student who visits home and ends up babysitting, and then the local sheriff is mailed a piece of evidence and is led on a scavenger hunt to reveal the killer of another babysitter. All kinds of stuff going on in this movie. It's really great, as, I love Shudder. So it is a Shudder original, and it's a great film. So in any event, if you're into scare, suspense, and sleeping with the lights on, this one's for you. Let's jump in. Summer H. Howell and Brandon Christensen. Brandon and Summer, first of all, welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I appreciate you guys talking to me about Night of the Reaper. How you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Of course. So, congrats on the film. I love that it's like this sort of throwback. It's in the kind of babysitter subgenre of horror. What was it like to do this? How did it feel for you guys?
Summer, you want to go first?
Oh, well, I had a really fun time. I filmed the first 3 days with Brandon, and I got to dance around. I got to die. Spoiler alert. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it made me a little sad leaving because it was so short and sweet.
Yeah, no, it was cool because this was a low budget indie, and so we're shooting an 80s movie, and if you've got Hollywood money, you can just create the 80s, but we couldn't, so we're just finding things on Marketplace and finding locations that had all this texture and wood and all these things that I remember from when I was a kid, and so being able to put Summer in that position to be dancing to Pat Benatar, it was just such a weird experience just to be in that place and that time with this TV and this music and this, just everything was just so cool. And, Summer's amazing, obviously. She was just so much fun. And she was only there for 3 days, but I mean, her presence was felt throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And what when you're doing a film with more human stakes, what is that? Where do you find that emotional core? Summer, do you want to start?
I guess so. I mean, I've never been hunted or murdered, so it's kind of a weird thing to just try and do, but I guess my family life is very connected and I have a lot to lose, so I pull from that kind of feeling.
I love that. And how about for you, Brandon, as you know, as the man behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I think like she's saying, family's so important. So having all these family connections throughout the film, like you've got the sheriff and his son being babysat, all of these pieces, there's a lot to lose. Like when we were casting Summer and she did her audition, she actually auditioned for Dina, but her schedule was very busy 'cause she had a bunch of stuff in Germany that she was doing right after. So we just barely sort of fit her into that window. But a big part of it was just looking at her and being like, oh my God, like nobody wants to see her die on camera, like that would be so sad to see Summer die. And so, and then it is like, she's so innocent in the film and she's so just like this cute thing that's just in this horrible position. And I think that it just sets the tone for the rest of the film.
And for you, why did your career has been in horror, and I'm a huge, obviously, horror nerd. And why was it important for you to tackle like the babysitter kind of subgenre of horror?
Sure. It's just been something that I've always wanted to do. When I was in the 8th grade, I went to a birthday party at a friend's house and we watched When a Stranger Calls, the 1979 version. And we all just sat there eating pizza, drinking soda, and we were just watching that opening 20 minutes, which is just like the babysitter horror movie. It's just amazing. It's like 20 minutes of just pure horror, and and that always just kind of stuck with me. And so in my career I've been fortunate to make movies at all, but I'm trying to kind of tackle different things that different subgenres. Like I've done found footage recently, the babysitter thing, I've done supernatural, like my last one that came out was more of like a body horror possession thing. So it's just it's just like this giant playground that we're able to play in, and babysitter was just one that I always wanted to do. And this this story came together with my brother and we just were like, this has to be the next one.
And how did you balance the kind of classic, almost slashery sort of thing with your own take on it? How did you inject Brandon into it?
I mean, you're always just like stealing from the greats, right? Like the opening 10 with Summer is very Scream driven with the Drew Barrymore thing. Like that was when we were talking about, it's like, no, we want to get that Drew Barrymore. We want to have that face. And now we've got Summer, who's, going to be Carrie soon, which is a whole other thing. But, it's just having this iconic intro that starts it. And then you go into something, a little softer, and you've got more of like Ty West's House of the Devil, which was a great, amazing film. And it's, when you think of babysitter horror, it's basically When a Stranger Calls and then House of the Devil. And I'm just trying to blend these two things while, you're putting, I think the spin that, we took was more in the execution of the story, but we wanted to set up a lot of familiar things on the journey so that the audience expects one thing, and then you can kind of go like, actually it's this thing. And it keeps the last act of the film really fresh for them, because it's like, oh, this isn't what I was expected. I mean, that's the hope anyways. You never know.
Yeah. I think it, was executed beautifully. And I love how there's, almost multiple stories kind of weaving their way through. I think that's, for me, a fresh take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Summer, you have pretty much grown up on screen. And how, Chucky, and you'll be Carrie, how does this fit into your repertoire,
Well, I guess horror has always followed me, so I wasn't surprised when it came up, but the dancing really surprised me. That wasn't a part of my audition or anything. It was just kind of a, not last minute thing, but I was already in Calgary in my hotel room and Brandon's texting me how'd you feel about dancing? And I'm like, yeah. I think I sent him back a video of me already practicing. So yeah, it fits very nicely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if I can jump on that, the script only said she turned on some MTV, something catchy, and then she snoops and finds cigarettes, and that's basically all the script said. But then we had a music supervisor, Natasha Dupree. She sent us this list of music, and we were like going through, there's like 25 tracks that we could afford, which wasn't a lot. But then, we're looking at things from like Flock of Seagulls and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. But then when she sent a second list, it had Pat Benatar on it. And I was just like, oh my God, this could be just like, we could shoot this like a music video. And so I sent Summer, I was like, can you dance to this? Will you dance to this? Because you never know. And then that basically her third day was almost entirely just shooting a music video. Like she's dancing, we're choreographer, we had music playing back with the whole thing so she could dance to it. But we did a 22-day shoot, and that was by far the most fun. Like it was such a blast to work with her on that.
It sounds.
And I got to kill her.
Summer, do you see yourself as like a scream queen?
I guess so. I'm seeing a lot of people online calling me that now, so I'll take it.
I mean, I think it's, and I mean that obviously as a compliment, and I think that the horror community loves scream queens. I mean, I think that you have really captured, a great balance between like an emotional core of your work, along with like just being a freaking awesome scream queen. You know what I mean?
Thank you. That means a lot. Wow.
Of course. Brandon, you have this reputation for kind of emotionally charged horror. Lots of familial,
Mm-hmm.
Elements to your work. Is that
Sure.
conscious? Is that subconscious? How has that come out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the old thing. You just write what you know. And I'm married. I have 3 kids. And so I'm seeing all these things. Like my first films, Stillborn and Z, they were about baby and like a kid in kind of the first grade, kind of that range. And they're all kind of based off little things that I've just sort of picked up from fatherhood and just being around that stuff. And you see certain things. And like, there's nothing scarier than stuff happening to your own kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a big thing is just if you can tie that emotional core and like, with Carrie, Mike Flanagan's like the king of that. It's just, if you can write what you know and put yourself into a little bit, I think it helps just add some authenticity to the story. And then, inevitably the demon comes in and ruins everything. But there's always just that first act stuff where you're dealing with these really human things. And most of those things are things that I've personally dealt with. And so you're just trying to, it's just like a form of expression that you're just trying to do. And, if I just made a movie about my life, super boring. But if you can just sprinkle some of that into something much cooler, it can add an extra layer for you.
How did, you worked with, Not the Funeral Home, Matt and Justin. How did they come into this? They do, Joe Bob Briggs and a whole bunch of awesome stuff in the genre. How did they fall into this?
We did a movie called The Puppet Man we shot in 2022 and it came out in 2023. And that just sort of set up a relationship with us. They've got a really close relationship with Shudder. I've got a close relationship with Shudder because this is my 5th movie with them. And it's just sort of, it felt like a natural fit. And they're great to work with. They're nice guys. And it's just, that's what you're kind of looking for all the time. It's just, my company's called Super Chill. It's just, I want to work with people that are fun to be around. Like Summer, she was amazing. She just came in, she knocked it out of the park and left, and we still talk now. We can shoot her a text and just, you create those relationships and those friendships on set. And I did that with those guys too. So it's just, it's a lucky place to be in life, to be able to shoot films with cool people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for both of you, as fans, well, and Summer, I assume you are a fan of horror, Summer? Or are you not? Like, are you like binging horror out?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Like, been fully drawn to it. I love being in horror. It's a lot of fun on set because nobody takes it super seriously and you're creating this crazy thing. But watching it, I don't know.
Do you get scared?
I get a little scared. I like comedy a lot.
Okay.
But since I got Carrie, I've been trying to watch more horror, so I'm starting to get into it.
All right. And what would you say your horror masterpiece is, like the one that you love horror-wise?
I don't know, but I watched The Fall of the House of Usher and like The Haunting of Hill House recently.
Okay.
I was getting into Mike's stuff because I'm working with him now. So. Yeah.
Okay. And Brandon, for you, as a fan of horror, who has obviously worked deeply with it, creating it, where do you see this in kind of the pantheon of the bigger genre of horror?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ultimate goal, if I could like wave a magic wand and get my outcome from this, it would be something that people revisit yearly at Halloween, because there's so much Halloween injected in the film. It takes place during Halloween. It's just 80s. It's fall. It's orange. If it could turn into something that people watch, like every year, there's always movies that I'll watch, like Halloween and Trick or Treat and things like that. And there's all
same, by the way.
Yeah. October 1st hits and they just start going through every day. They start watching something. People make lists and stuff like that. And just being able to crack that yearly tradition list would be so cool. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's such a, but even to be discussed on that level and be like, oh yeah, we know I'm watching Night of the Reaper and Halloween. You're just like, Jesus, like I never, you never see that coming. So, I mean, that would be the ultimate goal for this, for sure.
For me, in response to that, for me, I think this will be one that I'll be revisiting every year because it does have that cool vibe. Another one for me that I plan on watching every year is Late Night with the Devil. It just has that cool Halloween vibe, and it's a great movie. Trick or Treat, another one. So this will be in my, annual list. And I appreciate that as a fan. So,
cool, man.
Thank you both so much for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody to see Night of the Reaper exclusively on Shudder, which I love as well. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, man.
Of course. Summer Howell and Brandon Christensen. How awesome are they? Night of the Reaper is out right now. Go scream your face off and support indie horror while you're at it. All right, taking a quick break to pay the bills. 60 seconds. I will be right back. Welcome back to Pop Culture Weekly. Thank you for supporting our sponsors who help me bring this show, every episode. Now, from horror to history, we are talking Billy the Kid. The hit MGM Plus series is back for season 3, and once again, I have got Tom Blyth and Daniel Webber here to spill all the Wild West tea. So saddle up, my friends. Here they are, Tom Blyth and Daniel Webber. Welcome back, Tom and Dan. I really appreciate it. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. So congratulations on the series. This is the third and final season. What does it feel like closing the book on, something you've worked on for so long? This is to both of you.
This is tough. Yeah, this one was actually tough to say goodbye to. We've been doing this for 3 years. I've never been on a long running show where you lived in the character or got to know the people. And it's not even just cast, but it's the crew, it's everybody involved. But yeah, then also just it really hit me saying goodbye this. It surprised me. I thought I was all good. I was compartmentalizing it all, and then I woke up the morning afterwards, and I cried like a baby.
Did you?
Yeah, it just hit me. So, I don't know. It's meant. I don't know. And then it's been tough, man. The initial closing out was tricky.
Yeah,
and now it's sort of getting on with life, I guess.
We're a really tight knit cast and crew, and we're honestly so lucky because these days TV shows don't often run for that long. So to get 3 seasons out of a show that you love is a real blessing. And we've built this like incredible little loyal fan base of the show, and they keep bringing us back, and we've just gotten closer and closer each season, and so it is a family, and I think it translates on the screen. You can see how much fun we're having, and we get to do stuff that like they don't let people do anymore. Like we're riding our own horses, shooting our own guns, like lassoing cows. I mean, it's
in the Rockies, in the middle of nowhere, where that you've got moose, and it's just you're in the wild, like truly in the wild.
Yeah. So I think we feel blessed and like lucky to have done it, and we'll always miss it, but we'll always have it. Yeah.
I love that. And for, I talked to you guys for season 1, and we didn't know where, season 1 was in the can, but we didn't know if there was going to be further stories there or whatever. How now that you've, taken these characters through their full arc, how do you feel about that? That you know, looking back on day one and then the final day story wise, does that fulfill you as actors? You know, as telling these stories that, as you said, a lot of shows don't get to tell their whole story. You know.
There's like a richness to the at least our relationship that is not what Michael's not embellished this story between Jesse and Billy. It's something that is part of history, but somehow it's really become like it's the headline characters in history are sort of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and Michael's fleshed out this other relationship dynamic that has never been on screen before. And it's really personally really gratifying getting to chart the whole course of that. I think if we'd stopped after season one, it would have been, you know, a tiny part of the story, because really I always saw this as three chapters of the friendship and then the rival, it's this bitter rivalry throughout the Lincoln County War. And then this one where, you know, historically Jesse wrote to Billy the Kid to come break him out of prison. And so I always knew that that was the bookend to the story, because that sort of tells you quite a lot about these sort of bitter rivals, and the one person he reaches out to come and help him in the end is his enemy. So that sort of complicated, you know, reluctant brotherhood that these two have has been really cool to try and chart. And the end of this season, we got it to a place where I think we were really, it was great to do, because it has been so much fire for us, and navigating these characters on set. And by the end of they're a team and they're partners. And so we got to have a bit of catharsis in the sense where we got to really work as a team in a sort of traditional duo character mythos, like the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, or True Detective, or Thelma and Louise, like that sort of, you know, they're misaligned characters. They have different worldviews, and that's what a big part of the conflict is. But that's the part that's so much fun to try and play.
Mm.
And sorry.
For you, Tom, you know, there's been so many portrayals of Billy in film and TV and books and comic books. And how has your interpretation over, you know, the past 3 years changed of him, if it has?
Yeah, I mean, I've not watched any of the others. I hadn't seen any of them when I started doing Billy, and then I chose not to watch any because I didn't want to mimic anyone's performance or do an imitation. I wanted this to be our version, my version. Um, my understanding of him has changed over 3 seasons. I think, you know, there's almost like three distinct versions of Billy each season that we've gone through. And the first is season one, he's kind of lost. He's like a lost boy. He loses his family and he's on the road all the time and he's moving from town to town, state to state. And he is searching for something and he's searching for himself within the kind of like terrain he finds himself in. He kind of starts to find it, and then season two, he basically is trying to like carve out a life for himself in this like rugged terrain, and is kind of like trying to achieve the American dream still, and trying to be a farmer and almost like be a surrogate son to Tunstall, because he's never had a real father along the way, and then all that gets ripped out from under him, and he's a lost boy again, and then he's angry and lost and trying to be a leader. And then season three, he like is a leader and he's leading this kind of resistance group essentially against the corruption he sees around him, and trying to take down the house and the rings, which are, you know, part of history, were real corrupt groups that were like very much forming America at the time. And so yeah, in season three, he's like Che Guevara. He's like a resistance figure. He's like a guerrilla warfare expert. So it's cool. I get to see him through these like three major transitions and kind of end up playing like a folklore kind of resistance hero.
I love that. And this is finally for both of you. You know, what do you hope fans, people that have been tuning in for 3 years, what do you hope that they take from this final chapter in this tale?
Ooh, I mean, first of all, I hope they're entertained. I hope they get to watch a Western like that is a proper classic Western, it's like the hero's journey. There's relationships, like Dan said, that feel like Butch and Sundance, and like that classic Western romanticism with real Western action. So I hope they're entertained, and then I hope they like. I think Michael Hurst is really good at holding a mirror up to like also what's going on today and saying a lot has changed and also a lot hasn't changed. And the political atmosphere is very much like mirrored in the show. And ultimately, I think Michael's trying to say, look, like at the end of the day, our humanity is what matters the most. And that's what Billy believes, and that's what like I think Jesse comes to believe. And I think he's making a point about like our common humanity.
How about for you, Dan?
I mean, I think Tom said it so perfectly. Obviously the entertainment aspect of it all, like, got three different fates colliding this season. You've got Pat Garrett, who's hunting. You got Billy the Kid, he's on the run, this idealist, revolutionary sort of figure. And then Jesse, this sort of pragmatist survivalist, and cynic ultimately. And I think we're just watching those sort of forces, and each character is such a force on their own, collide. I think that will be really. I hope that's engaging and entertaining, because it was so much fun to play and to flesh that out and to see what he does, see what Alex brings. So I actually think it's going to be incredible. It's an enormous season. It's full of action, great characters and story. And then I think it's a good time to be talking about people who stand up to essentially oppression. And so it's great being a part of that voice. And I know we're doing it in a television format, but it's a good message to be putting out there to stand up, to have your voice heard in this day and age.
Yeah, and it's just a testament to the fact that art matters,
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Congratulations on all 3 seasons. I love it, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys. Tom Blyth and Daniel Webber, 2 incredible actors. And seriously, if you're not watching Billy the Kid yet, you're missing out. Start with season 1. Season 3 is streaming right now on MGM+. So binge responsibly, but it is a great historical action drama. I love it. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Pop Culture Weekly. Huge thanks to my guests, Summer H. Howell, Brandon Christensen, Tom Blyth, and Daniel Webber. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and tell your mom about the show, because she and we'd get along great. I'm Kyle McMahon. This is Pop Culture Weekly. I love you. See you next week. We're out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.